Welcome to the Fall 22 Public Health Fit Challenge. My name is Nathan Hale and I'm faculty in the College of Public Health. So we have been doing these challenges for a couple of years now. They started back in the pandemic where we were all isolated and we were just looking for a fun way to stay engaged, stay connected. So a Public Health Fit Challenge seemed like the right thing to do. Caught on over the past couple of years, we've kept the challenge going. Historically, the challenge has been between faculty and staff and students, seeing who can accumulate the most exercise points over the duration of some time period. So we're going to keep the challenge going in the fall of 2022, but this time it's going to be a little bit different. We are going to not just keep it in-house within the College of Public Health, but we're going to expand it out to the community at large, whether it's alumni, folks that live in the greater Tri-Cities area, whoever it may be. Anyone that is interested is welcome to join into the challenge. So the challenge is pretty simple. It is to accumulate exercise minutes over the course of a 10-week period. Now we have two marks that you can shoot for. The first is to accumulate 1,500 minutes over the course of 10 weeks. So that translates to 150 minutes a week, which just happens to be the actual recommendations for how much exercise we are supposed to get on a regular basis. Now that challenge is perfect if you are someone who may not be on a consistent exercise routine and you're just looking for a little bit of motivation to get going a little bit. That's the perfect challenge for you. If you're already in the pretty good exercise routine and you want to kick it up a notch, the second challenge that you can participate in is the 3,000 challenge. So that one is accumulating 3,000 minutes of exercise over the course of a 10-week period. So that's about 300 minutes a week. So these challenges are fun. They're not intended to be anything other than that. Hopefully they provide a little bit of community and some motivation for all of us to engage in exercise, because we know that exercise is, quite frankly, the most important behavioral tool that we have, or thing that we can do, that we have control over to improve our health and well-being over the duration of our life. So if that sounds like an interesting challenge and you're interested, you can stop there and go ahead and sign up for the challenges. There are links that have been provided in the bio and description area that will take you to the app that we are using to keep up with and track those minutes over the challenge. If you're still not convinced, I want you to hang on with me for a minute, and I'm going to show you some interesting data that will hopefully motivate us a little bit more to make sure that we are moving on a regular basis. Here's a recent meta-analysis that was published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine. So a meta-analysis is an analysis of all the different studies that have been done around exercise and certain health outcomes. So in this case, we have cardiovascular disease, which is obviously the leading cause of death in the U.S. and something that we should all be concerned about. So just to orient us here quickly, so every little notch across the bottom axis is roughly equivalent to 1 hour a week. So at the first notch, that's about 1 hour a week. The 1,000 mark is about 2 hours a week. The next notch is 4 hours a week, and so on. So a couple of things I want to point out very quickly here. One is that any activity at all, right? So just going from doing nothing at all to doing something at least 1 hour a week has significant benefits for your overall risk of cardiovascular disease mortality long term. If you get up to 2 hours a week, even better. So there's a dose-dependent relationship, especially for those that are starting from a place of inactivity to activity, that reduces your risk profile from dying of heart attacks and cardiovascular-related events very significantly early on. Now, clearly, once you get to a certain point, there are diminishing returns. However, one thing to point out is that it doesn't matter how far that exercise extends, it is protective against your risk of death from cardiovascular disease. So clearly, we want to be moving and exercising as much as possible to reap the full benefits of risk reduction as it relates to this particular outcome. Now, obviously, there's a point in which, it gets much more difficult to engage in, 10, 15 hours a week of exercise. That's not the point here, but the point being is that if we can simply get from, not being very active to being active for at least, 6 hours a week, we are going to be in pretty good shape as it relates to reducing our overall risk for cardiovascular disease. So It's no coincidence that the targets that we have in this particular challenge are, rooted in actual data about, how much we need to exercise to reap the full benefits of those activities. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of perspective on why we are doing these exercises and where some of those numbers come from. So they're designed to make sure that we're reaching these optimal doses of exercise that are not necessarily excessive to the point to where it interferes with life. So if that's appealing to you and you want to get in on the challenge, or if you're just looking for a community to help provide support, because let's be honest, I mean, it's hard to get in exercise, especially at different phases of life, whether you're studying all the time or whether you have kids and you're moving from event to event. Like, life is hectic, life is difficult, and things get a little bit challenging. So we recognize that. However, if you are kind of in the same path with a lot of other folks, then hopefully we can encourage each other and keep all of us motivated and moving towards exercise, because we know that it is critically important for our overall health and well-being, both physically and mentally. So if that sounds appealing to you, then again, follow the links that are provided and sign up for the challenge. You'll have to download the app, create a profile, and then join the challenge. But once you get it set up, it's very easy to follow and very useful as far as tracking your progress over the duration of the challenge. So I hope that you found this useful. I hope that you will consider joining the Fall 2022 Public Health Fit Challenge. So let's get out and get moving.